Hello and welcome to the Ellenmade Book Club. Today I want to talk about my reading plans and goals and intentions for 2025. So last year I did a video about my reading goals for 2024. I wanted to read 40 books last year, which I did. And then I had some broad goals, which were to challenge myself, grow as a person, try new things, and have fun. I still want to do all of those things. I want this whole reading thing and the booktube thing and everything to be fun. It's something that I do for fun, so it's supposed to be fun. And the challenging part and the growing as a person, I still definitely want to do, but I feel like some of the things that I did last year as a challenge to myself didn't really challenge myself in the ways that I would like to be challenged. Some of the challenges weren't very enjoyable, and I still want to enjoy things. Even if they are challenging, I want them to give me some sort of joy or value and not just be a challenge just for the sake of being challenged, if that makes sense. I don't want to challenge myself to read super long books just for the sake of reading long books, and I don't want to challenge myself to read 100 books this year because that just doesn't mean anything to me. And so I want to figure out how to challenge myself in meaningful ways. That's it. So for instance, I wanted to try new genres last year and new formats, like short story collections and biographies and audiobooks and all of those kinds of things. And I feel like I did that last year, sufficiently. I don't feel like that's as much of an intention and a focus for me this year. That's gonna just come more naturally, I think. So I have some notes in my notebook here, and I've written down some intentions and some goals and some plans, and those are different things to me. The intentions are like the big fuzzy things that I can't really measure, but that sort of set the tone. And the goals are more specific, measurable things that I can look at the end of the year and say if I accomplished them or not. And the plans are more like the more specific things that I want to do throughout the year to achieve those goals. Some of them work very well together and some of them maybe work a little bit against each other, but it's all just for fun, and it will be fine. So I have 6 intentions for the year, and the first one, and the one that's most important to me, is to read more diversely than I did last year. And this is, in terms of genre and all of that as well, but I want to read more books from all around the world and from different authors with different backgrounds, and just have a greater variety of voices in my reading. My second intention is to mood read more, and this is probably the one that is going to be the most contradictory to other goals and plans that I have, because if I were to mood read 100%, it would be a lot more difficult to also read more diversely. I need some structure and intention behind those book choices. I'm still going to try and pick up what I feel like a little bit more and listen to my mood. And for me, that also means less obligations in my reading throughout the year. So I want to make sure that the books that I read are books that I feel like reading and not base it too much on events and things. I want to read for me, for myself, and do that as much as possible. The next intention is mindful spending, and it also goes hand in hand with the next intention, which is more library. As I talked about in my reading statistics video, I spent a little bit more than I had thought last year, and it wasn't too bad, but it still was a surprise to me. So I just want to be more mindful of my spending this year and keep track of how much money I spend on books. I don't have a specific budget or anything. I would just like to spend less than I did last year. And the only way I can do that is to be more mindful and use my library more instead of buying books on a whim. I'm not going to go on a book buying ban because that limitation is just going to be like a punishment, and I have no intention of punishing myself. The books won't go bad, and I still have all of the books that I have bought left to read, and so whenever I feel like reading them, I can. And if there are books that I really want to buy, then I will allow myself to buy them. I just want to be a bit more mindful and make sure that the books that I buy are books that I love and that I want to keep and have on my shelves. My next intention is to read more new releases, and this is also just another way to have fun. I won't be buying all of the new books as soon as they come out, but I can still, check if they're available at the library, or I can suggest that the library purchase them. And some of them come up on my audiobook app. I just think it's fun to read the new releases and to be able to talk about them and, make the reviews on new releases. It just provides a value on the channel, and it's just fun. And I still want to read a lot more like backlist books and older books as well. I just don't want to feel like I'm only allowed to read older books. I want to allow myself to have the fun that it is to read new releases. I know for some people it might be the other way around, and they have to force themselves to read more backlist and not only go for the new and shiny thing. But for me, I have the kind of mentality where I have to earn things. I can't just enjoy things and allow myself to do that. I have to first, read the backlist, and I have to catch up first on all of the older books before I can allow myself to read a new release, which is stupid. I'm not gonna buy all the new things, but if I have them available to me, I'm going to allow myself to have a little fun. Okay. My last intention is to read more nonfiction this year, and I don't have a specific number or anything. Last year I read one memoir and one general narrative nonfiction book, and that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed both of them, and I had an intention last year as well to read more nonfiction and to read more memoirs or biographies, and yeah, I still want to do that, and I have a few picked out that I am interested in, and so yeah, I just again want to make sure that those are books that I'm actually interested in and that I am in the mood to read, and not just challenging myself to read nonfiction because that's important and that's the right thing to do. I just want to find nonfiction books and memoirs that I'm genuinely interested in and that I'm in the mood to read, and I want to read them. So those are my 6 intentions, and from those 6 intentions I have 4 goals that I want to achieve this year. It's not super serious, but these are the 4 goals that I have set myself. The first one is to spend less, and so that's pretty easy to measure at the end of the year. I'm just gonna compare the 2 numbers and see if I spent less this year than last year. The second goal has to do with the number of books that I want to read this year, and this goal is not very important to me, but I still want to have it just for fun. Last year I set a goal to read 40 books because that was just the pace that I was reading at when I set the goal, and then I ended up reading 51 books last year, and so I accomplished that goal. Since I had 51, I almost had a perfect graphic to put into my video, and so I said that in 2025 I want to read 52 books, because then I can have the pretty graphic, and it will also mean that I read 1 book more this year than last year, and it also would be 1 book per week, which is, a good average to aim for, I think. But the number itself is not super important to me. If I read 40 books this year, I'm going to be happy with that. But just to have a number to aim for, why not set 52? And we'll see how that goes. My third goal is to read the 25 books that I want to read this year that I talked about in my video, with 25 books to read in 2025. And yeah, this is just a list of books that I either own or have available to me at the library. And yeah, they're just titles that I have been wanting to read for a long time, or that I'm very interested in, and it's a mix of different things. So yeah, it's just one of my goals to read those 25 books this year. And then my fourth goal is to complete the challenges that I have decided to participate in this year. And this goal is probably the most like intricate, or like contains the most things. So I'm participating in 7 reading challenges this year, which is way too many, but they're all year-long challenges, and they're all like a list of prompts that I can fulfill, you know, whenever I want and however I want. They do overlap sometimes, and I can read one book and fulfill different prompts for the different challenges. And so it's just for fun, and we'll see how it goes. So the first challenge is my own diversity book bingo reading challenge. This is a bingo with 25 prompts, and then there's a list of diversity aspects, and the goal is to have as much representation from those groups as possible in my reading. And you're supposed to read at least one book from each of the different continents. This challenge is, of course, the most important one for me to complete this year. I've already read a few books for this challenge, and so it's going well so far. The rest of the challenges are created by other booktubers, and so I will link their announcement videos in the description, and so you can check that out and see how they work and what the prompts are and all of that. They also have challenges set up on Storygraph, so I will link that below as well if you want to join on there. I'm going to participate in the Read Good challenge by Ben at Ben Reads Good, the Savage Reading Challenge by Simon at Savage Reads, and Louise at Louise Savage Muses. The 2 challenges for the Buzzword Reading Challenge, one is for the title and one is for the cover of the book. And all of these 4 challenges have 12 prompts each, one for each month. I'm not going to stick to the specific month. I'm just gonna use the prompts and read whatever book fits for that prompt whenever I feel like it. I also want to participate in the Climathon 2025, which is created by Tasman at the Wild Island Farm. And this challenge is also 12 prompts, but they're not linked to a specific month. But it's about climate change and the environment and nature and all of that. So all of the prompts have to do with that. And I attempted a little bit to participate last year. I wasn't very intentional about it, but I want to give it a shot this year and try to read as much as I can and as much as I feel like reading. I also want to participate in the Classic 6 challenge by Sui at Sui's Book Banter, and this is a challenge to read 6 classics throughout the year. I have 2 classics on my list of 25 books I want to read this year, so those 2 are good to go. And then I'll see if I can fit 4 more in there, maybe a couple of short stories or shorter classics. But yeah, I want to participate at least a little bit. And the same goes for Maria Andrea's book club at Books and Bocadillos. She's hosting a book club where they're reading Latina authors, or like Latine authors, but it just happened to be all female authors this year. So she's picked out the 12 books, and I will link her video as well, where she talks about the 12 books that they're going to read. I'm going to participate in February to start with, because that's the book that was available at my library. So these are all really fun challenges, and I will link everything below, like I said. I was thinking of doing a video with like pile of possibilities for all of the different prompts, so let me know if you would like to see that, if you want to see all of the challenges together or like separate videos of that. Like I said, some of them are going to overlap, so maybe one video would be easier, but maybe that would be very long. I'm not really sure, but those are the challenges that I want to participate in. So those are my intentions and goals for my reading this year. And I also had a takeaway from my reading statistics video, or like analysis, which was to have less obligations this year. And that unfortunately includes the book club. So I'm going to put a pause on that for the foreseeable future. I might pick it back up or, do it in some other form in the future. I'm not really sure yet, but I do know that I need some more freedom in my reading, and not that the book club hasn't been like my own choice, because it definitely has, and it's also been a lot of fun, and I'm very appreciative and happy for everyone who has, joined in and read the book with the book club and joined the discussions and, put in questions and all that. All of that has been really fun, and I'm very glad I did it. I have no regrets whatsoever. It was really fun to try, and I just feel like now I want to try some other things and try to read in a different way. And I also want, the freedom to maybe do other kinds of videos, and not have an obligation to read a specific book each month and then do a specific video each month with a discussion of that book, because sometimes I read another book that isn't part of the book club, and I might want to do a deeper dive into that book and do a specific review for that book, and I don't really have the capacity to do that if I'm already doing that for the book club book. I also have some buddy reads lined up, and I want to be able to feel excited about those because I think those are really fun, and I just think that the combination of having both the book club and buddy reads is just too much for me. So this year I want to pause the book club, like I said, and give myself some space to enjoy the buddy reads and maybe space them out a little bit more and not have one each month. That just feels a lot more free to me and more enjoyable, and that's the whole purpose for all of this. So if you participated in the book club anytime during the last year, thank you so much. I really appreciate it and I enjoyed it. So please don't feel bad or anything like that. I don't have any regrets, like I said. I just want to try other things this year, and I think that's okay to do. As for the channel itself, I still feel excited. I feel like not having the book club is freeing up some space in my schedule, and just in my mind to try new things. I might also just want to keep it simple and have some more time for actually reading books, because all of the editing and things also take a lot of time. So I'm still working on finding that balance between spending my time reading or filming or editing. The most important thing to me is that this whole thing still feels fun this year, because I do get a lot of joy out of it. I love reading all of the new books, and I love making the videos, and I love talking to you in the comments, whether you have a channel or not. I just love the booktube community as a whole, and yeah, I just have a lot of fun doing this, and I get a lot of joy and escape from things doing this. So I want to make sure I keep it as fun as possible for myself so that I can keep doing it and enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.